Good evening and welcome to Königssee in Bavaria, the oldest artificial ice track on the planet, the first that was in the new molds with concrete cast channels, liquefied ammonia running through pipes underneath to keep the ice on the track. Hello everybody, welcome to Königssee for the first of two heats of round 4 of the Viessmann FIBT Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. We are here in deepest Bavaria, surrounded on 3 sides by Austria, as we get ready for our action. And this Königssee track might be old style, but it's still got lots of modern challenges. It's plenty fast. John Morgan, it's a real driver's challenge.
Well, there's a bunch of challenges right at the top of the track. To start, it's a short, quick start. Athletes get in, get down quickly. A lot of power off the block. Going to favor the powerful people, but you get in, get down, get settled. Around this first curve, you must maintain your speed. A little tricky here, but this S-corner combination, 4, left, right, boy, is that a challenge at the top of the track. It's really tight, quick, and then the acceleration point out of this 4th S into this long straightaway, into this Kreisel. What a challenge. The Kreisel is not as fast as Altenburg, but boy, does it set you up for the bottom part of the track. And after Kreisel, I mean, the articulation, suspension, and the sleds maxed out on the exit, and then into this tight little combination at the bottom, almost 4 G's of force, and 4.5 into the Echo Vault on the bottom part of the track. But you exit going uphill for the last 100 meters. So you really can't make any mistakes on the exit of the bottom part of the track.
Well, track record owned by Kathleen Martini and Romy Lodge in the World Championships 2011, that was set 51.36. It's been a quick track so far. Alana Myers-Taylor of the USA is our World Cup points leader, undefeated. Kaylee Humphries, the Olympic champion, lies second. And Jamie Grubel-Poser for the USA, still third in points ahead of Germany's Anja Schneider-Heinze. Of course, US athletes had a sweep of the podium for the first race of the season in Lake Placid and are hoping to continue that form through this season. But as we get to the European tracks, the Germans, the Russians coming on strong, and the Olympic champion Kaylee Humphries never to be underestimated. Well, the Belgians looking very good last weekend. Late start draw a little bit for their sled today, Alpha Willemsen. And 8.5 of air temperature, that has dropped now that the sun has gone down, and the ice temperature will be -1, -2 degrees. It'll be fast and flowing. There's Jasmine Fenlater working on her mental picture of the track. And John, that's so important for the athletes. You got to know where you're going as a driver, otherwise you'll never get there.
Well, on this track, it's tight, quick, and the people who go early have a big advantage. They better take advantage of it.
Well, first on the ice will be Germany's Stephanie Schurek, then Jasmine Fenlater. Lana Myers-Taylor, undefeated so far this season, goes off third ahead of Vicky Olay, returning to the World Cup. And all sorts of different permutations of teams coming and going from World Cup races as they try and set themselves up perfectly for the World Championships at the end of the year. Getting the first of our 2 heats underway here. Königssee, Bavaria is our German sled. Stephanie Schurek, 28-year-old, started driving in 2003 with the success of Germany's women's program. She's been in the lower tier of sliding for a decade, winning left, right, and center. This season marks her first in World Cup racing. She kicks off the competition with 25-year-old long jumper Elina Nolte on the back handles of the German sled.
Germans have a lot of hope for this young driver. Stephanie Schurek, she's used to be in the back of the sleds as a brakeman, and she's really doesn't look big upper body up, but upper body down. She is a very strong athlete. Start time 5:31. I would think that's top 5 start. Look at these S-corner. Look at the runner tips. It's not straight down through here. You're going to have to tap. Let's take your medicine. Now into the Kreisel. How many waves? Up, consistent. Now watch the runner tips on the exit. Not bad. A lot of difficulty down there in that labyrinth below the Kreisel. It's her first person down. Not the best ice to work with, so she's got Christoph Longen likes it. Well, we got a fast track here.
Yes, we do. It looked pretty quick in the skeleton race that finished just about 45 minutes ago. And Stephanie Schurek has broken the 3-year-old track record. Wow, the track is quicker now than in the World Championships in 2011.
And you can't practice for record speed. She just came down the fastest she's ever been down the track. But look how powerful she is. Hips down. This is a good track and field sprinter. Watch her get in perfectly. Driver and brakeman arrive almost the same time. That's not usual. But boy, a good start. Little skid here coming across the ice, but it's tricky down here. You can see it's not a straightaway. It's very, very minute steering, but you have to hit to get through there, and she did.
Well, she comes from the tight Oberhof track, so this is not her home track. That's a stunning drive from Stephanie Schurek. The question is, how long will that last? We've got the Olympic champion and Alana Myers-Taylor yet to go. Jasmine Fenlater up first, though, the 29-year-old from New Jersey. Used to be a dancer, tried out on Broadway for the Lion King. That's some introduction into bobsled.
She's got quite a personality, that's for sure. 5:29 start. That's a great start. All 3 U.S. sleds. Wait till you see what's coming up. Those start records are going to fall tonight. Viessmann crashed in training like all USA female drivers. But, you know, tough couple weeks for the U.S. team in Altenburg and then to here. But one thing's certain, Richard Lobenstein, their sled mechanic, he's been busy.
Kilometre an hour quicker than Schurek.
Watch out, she's
on
late.
Target to beat the track record.
Another track record.
Doubled her advantage out of the Kreisel. 1:19.7, a kilometre an hour quicker still. New track record. Second sled. Second time the record's going to be broken. Jasmine Fenlater takes the lead for the USA. 50.99. That's nearly 4 tenths inside the old record. We're only 2 sleds in. We may peak too soon here.
Yeah. And you know, it's going to get colder. We could see it all happen again in the second run.
Now, they don't know the time yet, but that feels like a great run, and they know it.
That's probably half a second quicker than she's ever been down this track, maybe 3/4 of a second, and that's where it gets meticulous. Look at the rudder tips. A little late here on the exit of Kreisel, and you're down in this little narrow ice trough. And watch the back end of the sled here. Watch her go to the left, but she didn't flop off here like Stephanie Schurek. Look at her get over in the take-on. That was really good. That's where she accelerated the wave.
We will see tidier runs down there, but that's a great line from Jasmine Fenlater.
Well, she does that. A little tap down here on the exit going uphill. Exit of Echo Vond.
Okay, 2 track records so far. Next up, Alana Myers-Taylor, undefeated this year. The former softball player, 30-year-old from California. 25-year-old Sherelle Garrett behind her. Also from Hayward, California, the ex-track star. Which on these girls have been the class of the field. What a combination, what an addition to US bobsledding Sherelle Garrett has been.
5:20 is the track record. I think she owns it.
Yeah. Start record could go.
The athleticism in the USA Women's Bobsled program is unmatched by the other country. Look at that. Ridiculous.
The record she set with Asia Evans lasted a year and 5 days.
Unbelievable. But she crashed. Now, the first 2 times down the track this week in practice, she crashed in the exit of Kreisel. So there's there's a little trepidation here on top of the track, I bet you, by the U.S. team watching this. She's got a skid going and a lot of banging. Exit here.
Speed in, 1:22.4, 76 miles an hour, fastest we've seen.
Watch out here. She's going faster than she's ever been down this track.
What a run! 1:21.2, way quicker than Jasmine Fenlater.
Ridiculous.
Start record and track record for Alana Myers-Taylor and Sherelle Garrett.
Oh, man. Wow. That is... And she crashed the first 2 times in training.
Yeah, and that means she couldn't qualify her 4-man, so she's not going in the 4-man race. Kaylee Humphries is. But Alana Myers-Taylor... Wow.
Athleticism in this sled. All 3 U.S. sleds. Wow. Myers looks hurt, though. Look at that. I mean, in the front seat, boy, if they had a track and field meet, Alana Myers would win it. As, you know, in the field, the women's bobsled pilot. She is some athlete in the front seat, and now she's learning how to drive. And, you know, she knows how to take chances now. She is starting to really figure things out. But she just went down the track almost a second faster than she's ever been down. And you can't practice for record speed.
Wow, we got the perfect combination of conditions here.
She looks hurt, though.
Yeah, it's those G-forces. There must be nearly 5 Gs
she's
now.
also crashed 3 times in 2 weeks.
Well, she's taking the tape off now. This is Vicky Olay from London, 31-year-old British bobsledder. 25-year-old Anya Kay, fine art student from Bournemouth. First ever World Cup start for her. She's been on the World Cup team all season. She's traveled with them, trained with them. Now she gets her first start on the back of the sled.
I asked Victoria, where you been? She says, well, I was in St. Moritz at the Open Cup training up there.
Yep. And of course, we go there next week for World Cup racing.
Ooh, look at that little hit in first curve. You don't want to see that type of a change of direction. Alters your speed. That's where you want to let the sled accelerate. Watch the runner tips here.
Not bad off S4.
Oh, but she's 6,500s down. That's relative to being 3,000s down at the start. Speed, 2 kilometers.
122.
That's the exit. Ooh, a big. That is so meticulous down there.
Anya Kay in the back seat will have bruised hips off that one. 117.2, just a fraction slower than Stephanie Schurter from Germany, and she's high, wide, and handsome. Holds it to the line, fourth spot, 51.7. But yeah, a little bit airborne in the back seat there in the last couple of corners, Anya Kay.
You cannot take anything for granted on this track. Echo Vaughn, you start to go uphill. Track sled starts to slow down. And she sort of felt she was at the finish, Martin, and that was the first sled I've seen do that all week long in practice. Here's the mistake. This wasn't bad up here. You got to hit at least twice. Here's the second hit. Now you come back over and get on the curve right before the Kreisel. But here on the near the finish, look at this. Boy, that's not where you want to be.
Hangs it off 14, and look at that. No runners on the ice there for a moment.
Looking at things sideways.
And you're hanging on to the back handles, I'm sure, for grim death there. Big smile from her. There's Vicky Olay. Lies fourth at the moment. Well, first 3 sleds down, broke the track record. What about Jamie Grubel, poser, 31-year-old heptathlete?
Look who she's got on the back.
Lauren Williams. Welcome back, Lauren Williams. Raced last year. She's been running track up until now and returns to the squad. Jamie is an elementary school teacher as well.
You talk about an athlete. It's unbelievable. Again, Lauren Williams returns. She gets on Jamie Grubel's sled. 5:21. Awesome start. Jamie's crashed twice this week. The first time she went over and came back up. The second time yesterday in the first heat of training. Did very well in the second heat. Posted her 3rd best time in training in the second run. Bad.
So decisive on your speed, this run down the bend away. 121.7, that's very good speed. Second fastest, only to Alana Myers-Taylor.
Joe, that's not good right there.
Still in second spot, but she's got the sled right itself. It should make it to the line, but they're going to be pretty beaten up.
She needs to get across the line. I don't think she's going to make it to the line.
It's uphill all the way, and they're not going to make it. And the sled will now stop and then starts rolling. You see somebody in the yellow jacket running down to try and catch the sled. The track workers are there.
That's a DQ.
And they will not get a second heat.
It's
one of our officials. Doctors are right there.
You know, and the coaches know this has been a tough couple weeks for the U.S. girls. They're going so fast. And
Alexander Zubkov there in the blue jacket on the right-hand side. His daughter, one of the forerunners here in the skeleton race. And there's not a bobsledder born, John, from you to these guys that doesn't know what it feels like to crash. Charlie Booker, the photographer down there, helping out as well. Yeah.
Well, you know, she's had problems on the exit, like everybody's had, and now she's going probably a second quicker. She hits the wall. Look at on the exit. She hits there. That pushes her over on the left side. And then another compounding part of the mistake, comes over to the right side. She's late. Boy, to see somebody flip like that, usually you're rolling into this curve.
Yep.
That's
zigging when you should be zagging.
Yeah, she, ooh, look at these pictures.
Yeah.
I just hope that both athletes are okay. And again, this is the third time this week the visor comes off. Third time this week. And that was a second place run. That would have been.
Absolutely.
No, watch her come to the left side of your screen. Too early, came off too early. And then that forces over to the right side, and now she's left when she should be right, and then the lights go out. And
well, those things come at you so fast. Look, we're talking here, what?
She's in the opposite part of the track.
20 yards, 25 yards, you're doing 75 miles an hour there.
You know, she's left when she's right, and then you could see where she was in the wrong spot zone. Doctors all over the place.
She's waving away the neck brace. So she's out, she's up, and Lauren Williams was out behind the wall already there. Brunsheimer, Stu McMillan, the performance coach. And there is Jamie Grubel-Poser. She's out of the sled.
Now they got to check the track. Of course, the track will be gutted. Coaches can only look on. Brian Scheimer.
Well, they know what it feels like.
Lauren Williams comes back, the silver medalist at last year's Winter Olympics, with Alana Myers then, and a couple of the German bobsledders looking on. Alexander Rodeker there on the left. He crashed last week with Max Arndt. It was only his fourth crash ever. I talked to him about it.
Yeah, Max had his bell rung pretty good, and the Germans let him slide again this week. I'm not sure that would happen in any pro sport in North America. Concussion and straight back on the field within 3 days.
There's their gouges that they have to. They're going to come out here with a little bucket of slush, is what we call it, and they're going to slush that in. Sometimes when the gouges are really deep, they bring out some dry ice.
Well, that helps to freeze the stuff on. So it'll be 5 minutes or so, and that means that the sled right at the top of the track, Elfa Willemsen of Belgium, have a little bit of a nervous wait. Well, they will examine the marks. They are going to be quite deep because the sled is doing a lot of speed, and it did do a lot of rolling around, so there will need to be some remedial work. I mean, that's a vital part of the track. You're going so fast there. If one of your runners drops into a groove and takes you in a place you don't want to go, that's not going to be great. Down below is the lights around the landing stages here at the Königssee, the King's Lake, the cleanest lake in Europe, the Germans say. Since the 1930s, they've only been allowed to use electric-powered pleasure boats on it. So no oil, no diesel, no other additions to the clear, crystal alpine water. So the track on hold. You can see the way it doubles back on itself, coming down the hill on the left of the picture and back up. And those are the gouges. So plenty still to come. Only 4 sleds down in our first heat of 2 here in Königssee. Stay with us.
Here's the pictures on the exit of Kreisel again. She comes to the left side of the screen. She should be like 20 feet down from there. Now she gets pushed over to the right. She should be on the left. And then this pushes her back over on the right. Again, she should be on the left side of the curve. And now watch what happens here. I haven't seen too many crashes on that angle, on that spot, and we've seen a lot of crashes there over the years. Lauren Williams, first race back.
Yeah, she probably thought she'd done well missing out on Altenburg last week, but this is another really difficult track to drive. And down there in that lower labyrinth, John, it's old school. It's so narrow. The walls, the ice, it doesn't curve up the walls high. If you're on the line, it's great. If you're off the line, it's horrendous.
Max Arndt right there, third on the right. There's the last guy waving at us. There's his team.
Well, he can see the camera clearly enough, so the vision's not too bad. Kathleen Martini, of course, returned to action in the women's bobsleigh after Christmas. She'll be racing here. Alana Myers-Taylor, our leader, by nearly 3/4 of a second from teammate Jasmine Fenlater. And Stephanie Schurig of Germany nearly a full second back in third place. Well, nervous times for Alpha Willemsen of Belgium as the track workers inspecting, not necessarily changing too much.
Marcus Anschott, he's the track director, and there's this little bucket of slush. Here they come in to do a little bit of little makeup on the ice.
And this will freeze pretty much on contact, so not like plaster on dry wall, which you have to leave overnight.
So let's look at the strategy for Alfie Willemsen at the start. It's getting colder.
Yep.
Cold makes the ice more brittle, but she's coming down to a very cut-up track.
Well, what she'll know now is that she's got to steer earlier than she thinks she has to steer. So the fraction before you think you should be steering, you know you've got to steer. And that means that everything they knew in training is out of the window. Now you've got to guess. It's best guess steer. You've got to try and anticipate how much extra speed you're carrying.
Well, here's our slush bucket, and you know, there they are.
Well, there's quite a lot. There's 500-600 meters of ice there, pretty gouged up down in the lower labyrinth. The doodles, as the Canadian skeleton athletes call it. Yeah, when it goes right there, John, it's brilliant. You just trickle down like a little stream through the middle, and you miss everything. And when it goes wrong, they all just rush at you and hit you.
The lights
70
go out.
miles an hour. Yeah.
You know, back to Willemsen, she's going to give up so much time. She might be 4,500ths down at the start, and she might bring it back to, you know, let's see, 7,100ths lead that Myers has got over Fenelator. Yeah. She could catch Fenelator. I don't think so.
Well, you know, if she has a good run here, top 5, top 6 is definitely her target.
With the start deficiency, because this is only like 1,280 meters.
Yep.
You know, where Altenburg is 1,400 meters. So she just runs out of track on these short tracks, which is next week at St. Moritz, she's going to be lethal.
Well, and the other thing is here the top speed is barely 120 kilometers an hour. 122 is the fastest we've seen. St. Moritz, they'll be into the 130s for much longer, and that's where the BTC Latvia sled really lets rip. Well, they see this huge start facility. This was all part of the rebuilding work that was going on at the track before the bottom end caught fire one night, and they had to rebuild the bottom corners. New media building down there, the whole new administration, and all those bottom 4 corners, all brand new, scratch built, and they used the opportunity. You know, life gives you lemons. Boy, they made some great looking lemonade down there.
My first time here was in December of '77, believe it or not, as an athlete, and boy, things changed since then. This was the first ever artificially cooled track that was built in 1971, and as you say, I've already said a couple times today, it's the home of luge, really.
Yeah.
The amount of Olympic champions for Germany that come out of this track is Georg Hackel. This is his hometown. You see billboards, the home of George Hackel. The Flying Sausage, is that what they called it?
Yeah, the Flying Sausage, Schorsch.
Nice VIP. Look at the VIP area. We were in there last night for a nice barbecue with the athletes. Boy, that was fun.
Great party. They had a team competition.
BMW sponsored. A great reception in there. But you know, if you do it right, if you want to figure out how to do it right in bobsledding, there's the dry ice canister now. So now that means that there's a deeper gouge, that the slush won't freeze quick enough. So they want to get things going. So you're going to probably see him fire this up and get a little smoke going here.
Yeah, basically a CO2 fire extinguisher, and helps freeze deep into the ice.
Yeah, see, they all got clamp-ons on their feet so they don't slip, like we saw one of our track officials when he got in.
Well, and the athletes as well. You know, sometimes they get out, and it just reminds you when they skid around that, yeah, it's ice and it's very slippery. So patching the biggest holes, I mean, especially down here, what you don't want is runners being led astray. Tram lining is going to be absolutely a nightmare. That's going to cause more problems.
Good crowd on hand, as usual here in Königssee. The Friday night, people coming out, and there'll be more people coming because there's a delay here. Still got 10 sleds to go here in this first run. 9 sleds.
Second heat scheduled to get underway here at 6:45 p.m. That's why we have a little gap between the two
I think we got
runs.
another 10 minutes here, because if he's putting that slush in there, we've got another 10 minutes at least. You hear that noise in the background? That's that CO2 tank.
Yep. And that's the big holes that they're trying to fill.
I think they might come back and put the CO2 on that because that's pretty wet right there.
Yeah.
And you're going 70, 74, 75 miles an hour down there. There's our...
There's your CO2. Step back, everybody. It ain't going to do you that much good. And the deal is the runners will go over the hole, but if the sled has crashed by then and helmets are on the ice, they want to make sure that the helmets go smoothly along the ice as much as possible.
I think they're more worried about resistance. I think they're more worried about that won't bother the crash, but they're more worried about the runners going down a pavement.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing here. And this obviously is a big trouble zone right here where they are.
Adjusting the shavers as well. They use a little planing device to smooth the ice off, to shave the ice. And you see that when you look at some of the corners, that you see the vertical striations where they've planed the ice to keep it smooth. Because, of course, water doesn't normally freeze on anything other than a flat surface.
Let's talk about the people coming up here. You got Viessmann, then you got Martini, who was flying and training all week. Then you got Schneiderheinz and Humphries. So the next 4 athletes are the ones that are going to be in the hunt.
2 of the Germans and the Olympic champion waiting at the top, cooling their heels.
Okay, so now it looks like we're going to get...
2-minute warning. So rush back from the Glühwein stand there is the cue.
Great place to view a bobsled track. First of all, it's spectacular in the panoramic view. We get that little thing up there called the Eagle's Nest, which is, anybody knows anything about World War II knows what that is. And then it's just this lake here is spectacular.
Well, there you see on the right-hand side, there's our commentary position. We're right opposite the giant screen, right above the start, the finish area. And right at the start area, we are about ready to get going. Lots of green flags for Saxony, for Kathleen Martini. Disappointed to finish off the podium last week on home ice in Altenburg.
After being in second place into the first run, I thought she was going to be able to catch Alana Myers. We did not expect Elfie Viessmann to pick up her first medal ever for Belgium, which blew up our live streaming page in Belgium. It was unbelievable how much attention she got.
And Kathleen
deservingly
Martini,
so.
Martini at a loss to explain where the time went. It didn't look like a bad run to us. She said it didn't feel like a bad run to her.
Picture in the paper the next day was her just looking at the timesheet going, I don't know what happened.
No. She was none the wiser.
That's why it was great that earlier today we had a German, Anja Huber, get on the medal stand for the Germans who have been lacking a few. They did not win a medal here, I don't think, last year at the World Cup final.
I think you might well be right.
You know, and that was shocking.
Oh, no, Frank
Olympics.
Rommel got a bronze in the men's skeleton.
Okay, that was their only medal.
So, yeah,
15,
that was their only
15
medal.
in Bavaria. We used to come here and see 8 medals, you know, so, and the same thing last week.
You remember who won this race last year? I guarantee you won't.
Yeah, the Swiss girl.
Fabienne Meyer.
Fabienne Meyer.
Of course, why should I say that? You remember everything. Fabienne Meyer of Switzerland, her first and only World Cup win. She is now retired. And Tanya Mayer behind her. Alana Myers-Taylor, as she was then last year. Alana Myers with Aja Evans. They were in the silver medal position ahead of Kaylee Humphries and Heather Moyes, who, of course, then went on to win the Winter Olympic Games. So we've still got 2 Germans and the Olympic champion to come in the next 4 sleds. Brand new sled at the tail of the field. First World Cup start for a new women's team from the Netherlands. It's been a long time since we've seen, not a long time since we've seen the Dutch girls. We haven't seen them all season long, though.
They've done pretty good in training, too. Good, decent starts. We all had them in for headshots.
Well, their driver is the Youth Olympic champion from 2 years ago, so she's got some skills. Getting ready for the track to go green now with Alpha Willemsen of Belgium, 29-year-old ex-javelin thrower, driving 29-year-old Annelies Holthoff. She comes into bobsleigh from track and field and rope skipping. That's a sport.
Great music in the background. Boy, they do so many things here. So right. Now, this start time you don't want to watch. Okay, it'll be probably the worst start, which it is. 3,300s down. She'll be, if she keeps it within 60 hundredths on the, if she gets into Kreisel, she's got a chance for a silver medal. Now it's 49. Should be bleeding at least to 60, 65 here in the exit. This is a speed merchant. 56, that's not bad. Now watch. Watch the speed she figures out. Like no one else. 121.8, that's the same speed as Jamie Grubel.
Yeah, a little quicker. Only Alana Myers-Taylor has gone quicker.
Here she comes.
Good lines through the doodles. Looking for 119, 120, 120.5. This is a really good run for the Belgians.
As expected.
Up to third, second place.
She ran out of track. She needed another 150 meters of track. She would have got it down to 3/10. But to be by 3,300ths down at the start means she should be 1 minute, 96 hundredths at the bottom.
Look at that, Elfa Willemsen.
Pure driver, and as I like to be able to say, knows a speed merchant.
British athletes helping out down the bottom. Alfie, what a line, look at this.
Watch the transition, so smooth. Watch the runner tips, this is the 4th S. Now watch the energy, the runner tips, the whole split. This is the 3rd, 4th S combination. It's just, that is so tricky, and she's as meticulous as there is.
And that is the secret. Her lines are stunningly good. Belgian fans in the crowd supporting her. Alana Myers-Taylor, the race leader, as Kathleen Martini comes to the blocks. With her, 20-year-old Lisa Marie Buchwitz from Berlin. And I think this is her first ever World Cup start on the back of this sled.
Yes, it is. So anything in the low 30s, 35 is be good for Martini.
2011 world champion, 4 times a European champion,
Great
Kathleen
start.
Martini, 5:31.
She was flying in track in practice. If there's anybody that knows how to manufacture speed on this track, it's Kathleen Martini.
Closer to the lead than the Belgians were.
Boy, this is pretty textbook. 120.5, should be at least 121.4. That's
Just
quick.
a fraction slower than Elfa Willemsen. She's in 4th place at the moment. That's good lines. Needs 120 and change, 120.0.
Her speed again is starting to fall away.
Second, she is in second ahead of the Belgians. Will she close on Alana Myers-Taylor? She doesn't, but she is in second spot.
But her speed fell away in the bottom part of the track. Those lines look perfect, just like they did last week. And everybody's just sitting there shaking their heads. When you drive that well, it's something to do with the equipment. Start time wasn't that bad. 4th best start for her. That's been her nemesis in her career.
And 1,500s quicker than Elfa Willemsen, and she only came down 300s quicker.
But her brakeman on the back, a lot of people talking about her. She's a sprinter. Buchwitz, her first ever World Cup. A lot of high hopes for her. Christoph Langen says she's going to be driving quickly. Look at these lines through here. A little bit of an abrupt scale. Quick left, 3.5 G's of force.
Well, there's Kathleen Martini. This is her final season in the German team. She's already said she'll retire after the World Champs, so they need to bring on Buchwitz fast if she's going to start driving. Anja Schneider-Heinz of Germany. This may well be her last season as well. Now 36 years old. If she keeps going to career, she'll be 40. That's a long life as an athlete, former Olympic champion, great woman. With Sandra Kyriasis, who's here working for German TV.
This is the new girl, I'm sure.
And this is Annika Drazek,
yeah, this
another
is the
World Cup debutante.
Yeah, this is another sprinter. This is the one that's 19 years old that they have a lot of promise for. Schneider, this should be a decent start. 5:16.
Oh, that's
wow.
Good.
Now,
Inside the old record.
Schneider was quick to train. She says she doesn't like this track when I asked her one of the days after training.
Well, she doesn't like Lake Placid either. She doesn't like the really tough driver's track. She likes where her abilities at the start give her a help, and that's Winterberg.
Speed here going to be real telltale sign. 1:40.5.
Only Myers-Taylor has gone quicker.
40. way down. She lost so much time on that straightaway than into Kreisel.
Speed's not there, 119s is not enough.
She's going to be rushing back, and she still has a chance for a top 3.
Third place, tied with Alpha Willemsen of Belgium.
Boy, she
started 3/10 quicker than the Belgian sled. Wow.
Still a good sign. I'd be impressed if I was the Germans to have.
Not if you start 3/10 quicker.
Yeah, but if you think about all the long range into Winterberg, the World Championships,
yeah.
That's this start, having the second best start in the world. But she lost a lot of time. Look at the head, look at the pressure. Boy, her brakeman's buried in there perfect. Good schooling there. Now watch the transition here. Left when she should be left, right when she should be right. Now watch the back end of the sled. Smooth. Not bad.
Little bump, but
again,
nothing to write home about. And yet, where's the speed gone? Runners, aerodynamics, somewhere in there, it's all going astray.
Okay, we got one more little Olympian coming on.
Well, there's always a wrinkle where Kaylee Humphries is involved somewhere or other. Yet to win a race this season, really hasn't been on top form. This time last year, she was in 3rd place here, building up to that Olympic gold medal. And on the back of the sled, another World Cup debutante. Giulia Carenti joins the 29-year-old double Olympic champion.
Kayla used to dominate with the best start times like Alana Myers is now. This should be mid-30s at least. 31, great start. She's won on the track. She's won on every track. She used to own the start record at every track, but now the American girls have taken that over.
Going to be driving the 4-man as well Sunday.
Yeah, historic. Wasn't doing bad in training either. Let's see if she can hold her speed. 310, she's going to need 120.5 here in the prize. 121, that's pretty good.
Half a second away, 6th spot at the moment.
Speed, that's off too.
Yep, not going to do any better than 6th position. Guys at Eurotech already know they need a new 2-man sled. It's too bluff in the wind. It is not cheating the air the way it should.
She's only 700ths though out of the bronze.
Yeah, that's a tight battle.
Yeah, we got 4 sleds there, separated by 10 hundredths for 2nd through 5th.
Yep.
I think I don't know if there's anybody else in the rest of the field that's going to chase any of those.
I'm not sure there is.
Down.
Alana Myers-Taylor is high-stepping her way to the end zone, but right behind, there is an arm wrestling match going on for 2nd, 3rd.
Start, pretty good. Start time wasn't that bad. 5th best start. Here, look at, you can see the runners are not perfect. You got to hit here a couple times, but the question is, how hard do you hit? How much do you skid across the ice? She's had a couple extra trips this week, but not in the 2-man.
Always learning, Kaylee Humphries, always learning. Well, that extra speed in the 4-man might just have helped her a little in the 2-man, as it's quicker than it was before. So 9 sleds down of our field of 14. Misha McNeil from Newcastle is next up. Youth Olympic Games silver medalist, 21-year-old with 22-year-old Alicia Kittle from Chelmsford behind her. As well as pushing sleds, apparently she's some kind of genius at memorizing song lyrics. Now, let's see how that works out here.
Oh, she fell! Oh, you heard the thump. She better get down quickly. She does, but boy, that was on the verge of being a disaster. We have not seen a start mishap all year. This is the 4th World Cup event. That might be the half of a start. I mean, talk about somebody not getting in.
Well, we occasionally see guys not getting into a 4-man sled.
Not the driver not getting in.
I've not seen one yet. I'm not sure I'd want to be the brake.
I've seen one before.
Yeah. Not often. 119.8. Well, that will have really rattled her concentration.
Watch out here, watch out.
Slowest run so far for Misha McNeil.
Track doesn't have any time left in it. Alana Myers was down, seems like a half hour ago. 40 minutes or 35 minutes ago, Alana Myers went down.
Well, all that wrestling to get herself in the sled, the loss of momentum, the loss of focus, all of the panic trying to get in, that will all have contributed to what was a disappointing run for Misha McNeil. Not half as disappointing for a brakewoman as if Misha had fallen out and the brakewoman had to get on the ropes and drive it or somehow hang on in the crash.
Listen, you can't hear it, but it's the thump. You heard the thump of the shoe hitting on the cow. And boy, she pretty good athleticism just to save that.
Yep.
Then she's got to concentrate, rest of the way down the track. Now watch her come down and sneak over here to the left like you're supposed to. Back end's in a skid, though. Now she's late. And watch her come over. Watch the back end of the sled come up. Bang. She's not where you should be. See the airborne runner on the right. But she snaked through there okay.
Got in. Could have been a lot worse than that. Had all the hallmarks of being a nightmare. Well, next up, Germany, Russia's Nadia Sergeeva with Yulia Shuksheva behind her, 27, 26-year-old respectively. Sergeeva, former brakewoman, started in 2010, and he started driving a season ago.
Crashed in training yesterday. Track and field athletes, both of them. Both sprinters.
5:35 getaway.
She's still in the development stage. Oh boy, she was late in that first S. Then you're late second, late third, late fourth, and watch the exit here. Not bad.
Yeah, got it down nicely, but how hard did she have to work
to get it out?
3 and 4, yeah.
Okay, now the game on right here. Oh, that's not a very good dip. This is going to be challenging on the exit. Watch out here. Watch out. Oh. Boy, how did she get through there?
Hits everything in sight, drops to 9th spot behind Vicky Ole.
I don't think it's about time. I think it's about just get to the bottom.
Up to 8th position. Little tidier at the bottom. What she got at the line? No. 10th place behind Misha McNeil.
Coaches just look on and frustrated.
The question is, she was 8th going into Echo. How did she end up 10th at the line? She didn't hit anything.
Well, the speed she lost on the exit of Kreisel. You know, they compounded all the way down, kept on chasing her. You're supposed to exit here in a slingshot effect into the bottom part of the track, finding more speed. She goes way down. Sled has to come way back up, centrifugal force. It's got to come down again. Now she dives out of here to the left side of her screen. She should be over on the other side. Now she drifts left when she should be right. And then you can almost close your eyes because this is not. Look at that runner airborne there, and then it's airborne here and hits. That was forgiving. Look at this. Look at these pictures.
Yeah,
she was pretty forgiving.
She got away with that in a way that Jamie Grubel posed it didn't.
Yeah. Well, Jamie was even more late than that.
She was. 11 sleds down then, and next up is Austria's Christina Hengster with Sanna Decker behind her. Sanna, for the last 3 years, has been braking for the Dutch, now transferred to the Austrian team this winter.
Of course, there's all questions about passports and everything as you get into like the World Championships, the Olympic Games. There's been a few athletes trying to go from German biathlon to Spain's biathlon team. Well monitored by the IOC. So Christina's done well on this track before. She's a good driver. But the nemesis at the start, 5:36, those not bad. Ooh, look at that hit.
Ooh.
Violent change of direction when you try to let the sled accelerate. And speed at the start. Oh, it's so... She's starting to cover a lot of ice here. 4600s isn't that bad. Watch the wave. Any kind of waving going on here? No, look at the runner tips. Right side of the screen. Yep, left side. Watch the back end. Pretty good. This isn't bad. This is top 10.
Speed's not bad at all.
Oh, she's way off now. That's the track. Doesn't have any speed left. So rushing uphill. Top 8, 9 maybe. A little late there. 8th, not bad.
Place ahead of Vicky Ole and Misha McNeil of Great Britain.
She started 2300ths behind a lot of Myers. So 7/10 she's been out. Myers still outdrove her. But Christina Angster, she'll do better in St. Moritz, and she'll do really a lot better in her home track in Innsbruck, where she's won a World Cup medal before. That's 3 weeks away. Happy.
Well, 51.33 inside the old track record still.
Yeah. Here's the problem. She comes in, the bunk almost hits. Look at this. Watch the back end. That's too abrupt of a change of direction when you're trying to be so smooth. Minute steering up there. That was a violent. These are good lines here. Really good lines here. She comes out of here with that slingshot effect on the bottom.
Must have felt like a good trip. That's quicker than she's ever been down this track. She's inside the old track record, and she's only an 8th.
PB.
So 11 sleds have safely completed the course of the 12 that started. Now, the last couple, the second of our Belgian sleds, Anne van Nieuwenhuizen, the physiotherapy student, former 60 and 100 meter sprinter, and basketball player Sophie Verkruijsen, 23-year-old driver, 22-year-old brakewoman in the second of our Belgian sleds. And our top Belgian, Elfa Willemsen, just to remind you, in 3rd spot.
These two have had a tough week. They've got at least 2 crashes, but they qualified. They only have to make 2 complete trips. Oh, that's a big mistake there. She doesn't have her hands in the D ropes. Maybe she hopes she didn't hook it with her foot. Let's see if she gets this one under control. Yep. 4 S's here. Ooh, late there. The sled pulled. That's not good either. Crashed a couple times at Oakland too. Ooh, force. Now, keep the sled stable here, Christ. No big up and downs. Come out on the right side of the. It's not bad. They get over. And she does. So she'll live another day here. Ooh, she's high there, though. Okay. Again, you can call her development driver.
Yeah, very much.
Down, 12th best time.
Got it down safely, not tidily. More hits than Elvis down that bend away. And that really just knocks the speed. Every one of those bangs takes speed out of the sled. But as you say, she is coming up through the ranks, the development driver for the Belgian team.
Okay. Watch this. Now watch her come to the right side of our screen, out of these grooves. Something happened in there. That's worth half a second of a mistake right there. You take her down in 50 hundredths better, and she's challenging for the top 9 or 10. Here, you know, you can make this type of mistake down there, but that mistake up there at the start is, you can't do that. Here, down here, you're going to do it as a development driver, but that's pretty much like the center snapping the ball to the quarterback.
She tried not to panic, didn't steer, just took the hits down the straightaway. Last of our sleds in this first of 2 heats then. Youth Olympic champion from the Netherlands, Marie van Hagenbosch, with Melissa Beekelman alongside her, 22-year-old. The brakewoman, a former junior world champion shot putter. So they've got plenty of athletic ability in this sled.
It's great to see the Dutch back out here. Missed them.
Coached by Edwin Valkalke and Michael Cerise, who formerly drove for France and Belgium.
Not bad. Did pretty good at training all week long. I was watching their lines. A lot of positive energies that came into their headshots. You know, this is like the 3rd generation of Dutch sliders, and good athletes are coming forward in the Dutch program, and it might be their 2nd most popular sport on ice after speed skating.
Still being supported by Eurotech, who also build the sleds for the Canadians, so Vin Norman's the boss of Eurotech, Dutchman, very keen on supporting the Dutch program.
Very calm lines.
Top 10.
2012 Junior World Champion at the Innsbruck Junior Winter Olympic Games.
Yeah.
First ever.
So she's not even started a World Cup race, and she's already an Olympic champion. That is a great run. There's Michael Cerise. No wonder he looks happy with that.
8th best start, 8th best finish. Hey, what a way to start.
Welcome to the World Cup. Youth Olympic champion and top 8 World Cup on her first trip.
Smooth. start, you know, it's everything. Not bad. 8th best start. You know, you got to start. You have a chance for the best time at the bottom with the best start, as we know with Alana Myers. And she snakes through here, back out of the sled. What's it do? She do a lot of steering in there, though. Yep. There's a lot of waving around, but hey, she makes some mistakes there. She's still in 8th.
Went through there like a rally drive with the back, ignoring the back, just concentrating on the front. And that is our first heat completed. So, Alana Myers-Taylor, start record, track record. One of 3 sleds way inside the old mark in this first of our 2 heats. Temperature is dropping, it'll only get faster.
Unbelievable how much they took off the track record at the start. Track record at the start, track record at the finish. Wow, what athleticism, the U.S. team. But I think she hurt herself.
Yeah.
You know, well, she tipped over twice this week.
Yep. 9 tenths inside the old track record. She leads by 65 hundredths, but look at the battle. 2nd to 7th, 3 tenths of a second. You think there's nothing going on in there? The second run is in for a big sort out. The Austrians and the Dutch tied for 8th. The British sleds just 500ths apart. Team bragging rights there. And 13 of our 14 sleds safely completed the course. Jamie Grubel-Poser, the only one not to make it all the way to the finish line after she wrecked at the bottom of the doodles. So, Heat 2 coming up shortly. 6:45 local time here, so just under 40 minutes. Stay with us. John Morgan, Martin Haven returning with the action from Königssee.